Hello, my loves, and welcome to another episode of the Luxe and Leverage podcast. Your host here, Michelle Hext. Welcome to my new listeners. Welcome back to my regulars. Did you miss me last week? I just didn't have it in me last Monday to record an episode. It's been a really full December, and I had appointments that I had to make that Monday morning, and I don't typically book appointments on Monday mornings. I leave my Mondays completely free so I can get the podcast done and just manage re-entry into the week. And I just ran out of time. I had a window of time where I could have jumped in and recorded, but I just had to sit there and ask myself why there's nothing that I really feel like I have really pulling me to speak to you. And so I just let it go, which is not something that I do. You know, I was looking at the year and I'm pretty sure I've recorded 52 podcasts over the last 52 weeks, or 51 because I missed one last week. And I was also thinking about the fact that I've run that many inner circle mastermind calls as well over that time. One thing I am is consistent. So over those years, over those months, week in, week out, that is just the standard that I've set for myself. It's something that is my new normal now. But yeah, I'm a human and occasionally I drop the ball. And today I'm letting you know as well that I'm going to take a couple of weeks off and I'll be back on the 5th of January. I have never taken time off where I completely switch off from my business. But this is a year, it's turning out to have been a year that I did things so incredibly differently than I have any other year. And this is something that I'm fully embracing and stepping into. And so typically I would think, oh, it's okay to record the podcast. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of effort. I've got the time. And then I just realized, you know, there's about 160 odd episodes that you can go back through and revisit. There are some incredible podcast episodes back in the archives, or do we even call it an archive? In the playlist. And so that leads me to my topic, which is a bit of a wrap up of 2025 as I stare down the barrel of 2026 and reflect on just how different the year has been. This last 6 months has been incredible, and I'm not where I expected I would be right now, but you know, so much a more aligned, special, magical place than I could ever have imagined. And I put that down to exactly that, to doing things differently. So as I was getting ready to hit the green light on record, I decided, you know what, I'm going to jump into my journal. I use a digital journal as well as, pen and paper journal, and it's called Day One. And I've been using this thing since about 2012, 2013, something like that. And I'm able to go back and have a look at this day on the day, all the way back. And I had a quick look at this day in 2024 and where I was sitting and what was happening and just how different it is. And it's just it's so telling. It's so telling. Anyway, let me have a little flick through the journal. I'm not going to read it out to you, but basically I was celebrating a new masterminder coming on board. I was celebrating that a masterclass that I was running was filling. I was celebrating that my messaging felt really good the day before. I'm speaking about the fact that I was going to email my list. I had somebody doing some reach outs on LinkedIn and that was going well. I was talking about hiring another podcast promotion team. Spoke about how tired and sore my body was, and I was heading into karate that night. And I was speaking about how I wanted to work a little bit harder physically and, do some more cardio so that my fitness was up so that I could do karate a lot easier. So that, if I look at that entry, that is very similar. I guess if I were to flick back, let me do it. Let me go back and have a look a year before that. Let's go December 2023. Oh, I didn't even, typically I've taken a break from here for some reason. Let's go the year before, 2022. Okay. Again, talking about my training and boxing. I've got a sales page for a new offer and my messaging. Did a summit interview. Was meeting a friend to walk. Talking about images that I need for socials. And talking about offers, like launching new offers. And those two journal entries are probably very, very similar to many that I've had over the years. And I was writing in my journal this morning. Actually, let me open it up. Sorry about the scraping. My mouse is just clicking away here. But I just want to give you the full go, right? The full breadth of it. Okay, so I woke up this morning. Oh, I'm sorry for your ears. I woke up this morning and the first thing that I saw when I logged into my WhatsApp was my ads and marketing person had sent me a report for the first full week of the ads that we've been running. And it was so detailed about how it is performing. What did she say? It's outperforming industry expectations. Like the ads are performing very, very well, exceeding norms, which is what I expected. And she lays out everything very, very clearly in the ad. So there's this, 2 or 3 page report. And she's clear about what she's done. She's clear about the data she's collected. She's very clear about what she's doing next. She's given me some timelines for when different things will start to happen. She's also let me know what she's doing this week. And it's like, oh, that feels so good. And I wrote in here, there is no freaking way I would be able to do what she's done with the ads. No way in hell. Her strategy and attention to detail is insane. And so that got me thinking about other things, right? I started to think about, okay, so let's have a look at my team. I was just giving myself a bit of a pat on the back about what an incredible hire she was. And then it's like, okay, let's just go down the team. Let's have a look at who is the first person or who is the first person in line for this, funnel, right? And the first line is my ads person. She's smashing it. She is like 150 out of 100 or, 11 out of 10 or whatever. She's exceeding my expectations and I have such a high level of trust in what she's doing. And so I asked myself, is there anything that I would do differently around this hire? And absolutely not. So next is like, okay, who's the next person? And that is my salesperson. And again, I'm asking myself, is there anything that I need to change here? And it's like, absolutely not. She is absolutely a 150 out of 10 or 11 out of 10. She is like above and beyond. This woman has done so much research into product knowledge around this product that we are selling, and she understands it so well. She has gone out of her way to fully understand quite a complex offer, right? She's amazing. Her rapport building, her demeanor, her integrity, everything about her is just perfect. And then I look at who's next. And this is my COO, and she's also my client relationship manager right now. And so after they've gone through the ads, which my team has done a beautiful job, and they work with my salesperson who I have so much confidence in and I'm so proud of, the next person that they meet is Simi, and she is incredible. I know that my clients, when they come on board, are going to feel so incredibly valued and treated so well. Every touch point, every person in my line is like she is almost irreplaceable at this point. And I'm looking at the individuals that they are and the people that are front facing my business. So my salesperson and my COO. And I would not want to handball my new clients to anybody but these ladies. These ladies are going to make them feel so loved, so valued. Everything is going to be so laid out and clear. And then the next person that they are in touch with, Simi actually is organizing this, but my promo team will then go in and do their job. And I have so much faith in my team. They are incredible, amazing. And they're producing incredible outcomes. So it's like, oh, that team, like, is there anything I would change there? Absolutely not. And then the next person that my new clients are coming into contact with is me inside my inner circle. And I know I trust myself to do a good job. And so I'm looking at this group of people that are working on my behalf and also on the behalf of my clients and asking myself, is there anything I would change? And the answer is absolutely not. I feel so excited. And so that led me to just a little bit of a rant and a bit of a rave about, there's not a single person in that line that is anywhere near underperforming, not a one, all exceeding typical expectations in all the ways. What a fucking team. And then I just am so excited about that. And I'm talking about things like, I'm taking retatrutide right now and my weight is coming down. It was coming down pretty quickly. We've slowed it, which is what we want, but it's still steadily coming down. And so I was writing about that and how good I feel, how good my body is starting to feel and look in my clothes again, and just how easy it's been. Talking about what I've got coming up today. And there's no talk about emails. There's no talk about content creation. There's no talk about people reaching out on LinkedIn. There's no talk about, I need to be fitter and I need to do more. Everything feels like it's supposed to feel. And over the last couple of days, over the weekend, I was asking myself the question, why does my life feel so good right now? Why does everything feel so amazing right now? And the first thing is progress, making progress in a lot of different areas. And that feels amazing. But the bigger reason that I'm feeling so good is because this is how life is supposed to feel. This is how my business is supposed to feel. This is how I'm supposed to be operating. Everything feels so incredibly aligned. I feel aligned. I feel powerful. I feel like I'm leading my team in such an incredible way. And as I look back at my team and look at every individual piece of the puzzle, I couldn't have created anything better if I tried. And that has all stemmed from me deciding some way partway through the year that, you know what, this isn't lighting me up anymore. You know what, this is keeping me small. You know what, I'm realizing that I've been setting the same sort of goals every year for quite a few years now. And while there's been progress made, it's not enough to excite me. And so I decided just to stop doing so many things. And I did. I just stopped. I saw a vision. I saw who I was required to be, and it actually made sense to me. I've stepped fully into that. The old me has fallen away. And the parts of me that were keeping me small, obviously the parts of me that are thriving and brilliant and on path and all of those things were always within me, but I've let go of so much. And the idea of sitting down and writing emails and creating content just for the sake of creating content, like none of that, I can't go back to any of it. I don't want to go back to any of it. So I will be creating some content for some socials. I set up a couple of the last things that needed to fall away were, one, I needed to just let my email list know I'm deleting you. I don't need you anymore. It's thank you for being part of the journey, but emailing a list is just not my role anymore. And then the next thing that I did was I was looking at my social media and it's like, you know what? I'm going to be running ads. I don't want them running from my profile. I want them running from its own social media account, because where I'm going in 2026, I'm launching a couple of things in 2026, and I don't want to be feeling like that's tied to my Instagram profile or my Facebook profile. I decided that I was going to set up separate accounts, and I've done that. And there's a little bit of content on there, but I haven't really touched it because I don't really need to, because the ads are doing their thing. But I did have this little nudge this morning that it's like, yeah, I'm going to get in there and I'm going to create a piece on socials, maybe 2 over the course of the week, and drop them, just because I've got a lot of new people coming into my world now. And it feels like something I want to do, not something I need to do. And it feels so incredibly freeing. And if I decide I don't want to do it, I don't have to do it, but I do want to do it. And so as I reflect back over 2025, and looking at where I'm going into 2026, those decisions that I made about doing things differently have paid incredibly well in many ways. The idea of, working myself into the ground physically to try to achieve a body goal, and just that I can look and feel better in my clothes again, because menopause, I'd put on 3 kilos that I didn't like, and I could get rid of it, but it would always come back. And it was like, it just required a lot of sacrifice that just meant that life wasn't as fun. And so exploring that peptide and getting onto the peptide and seeing the results, it's like, if only I had have known it could be this simple and this easy. And I didn't just go into it willy-nilly. I did my research. I spoke with my trainer. I've been in to see my my cancer specialist, and she's okay with it. So it's, I'm doing all of this stuff responsibly. And I'm on the minimum dose, and we're micro-dosing it. So I'm not having any side effects other than fat loss, which is incredible. So that was something that I chose to do differently. And such a small thing has made such a big difference. And then, one of the things that I didn't want to do, one of the things that I expressly decided that I was not going to do in 2025 was hire anybody. I just wanted to make it smaller and more manageable, and I would have an intern, and that would kind of be it. And look at me now, like I have a team that is so incredible, and I couldn't do what we're about to do without them. And that meant I had to change my mind about something that I was very firm on. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud for how far I've come. I'm proud of myself for making decisions and making moves based on the woman that I knew I came here to be. And once I saw the vision of her and knew that, this all makes sense now. This is what I'm meant to be doing. This is who I'm meant to be in, the business sense of my world. And here I am sitting on this day in December, the 22nd of December in Melbourne, and so excited for the year ahead, and knowing that I work today, tomorrow I'm working as well, and then Wednesday morning is when I officially start my leave. So I'm going on leave until Monday, the 5th of January. There are no appointments. I'm not running any inner circle calls or client calls. I'm closing down the WhatsApp group for 2 weeks. My swimming lessons aren't happening. I'm not driving down to see my trainer. Like, there are so many things that just aren't happening. I'm freeing up space, and I intend to just stay out of my office. I didn't step into my office once over the weekend. Or Friday morning, I think I came in for a little bit, and then I drove into the city, and then I spent, 4 or 5 hours having lunch with a girlfriend and walking through the city, and then, drove myself home and did a quick check-in when I got home. But essentially, I was out of the office all day Friday as well. I was out of the office most of the day on Thursday. I ran my last inner circle call for the year then. And I just am not in my office very much these days, whereas before I was in there a lot, not necessarily because I needed to be, but because I felt too anxious not to be. But now I don't have any of those feelings. And 2026 is going to be an incredibly different year. I know that so many people have spoken about how rough 2025 was, and talking about it's like being alive or being awake during surgery or something like that. And there were definitely parts of that for me. But when I saw where I was headed, when I asked myself the question, if it's not this, if I chose to do something different, what would it be? And just getting absolute resistance and working through it and saying, well, you don't have to, doesn't mean we have to act on this, but what else could it be? And then there are a couple of things that were working for me. And I also had an experience with my members club that pissed me off, and I left, and it's like, I'm going to create something that's better than this. And so some ideas were there, some seeds were planted, and I've been so patient with every single part of it, because one of my greatest values is integrity and quality. Everything that I produce has to be at the most premium level. That is important to me. And so you can't rush these things. And that's been, it's such a different year. 2025 definitely had moments of what the actual fuck. There were definitely those moments. But honestly, once I saw that vision, I'd started asking myself the tough questions, started to contemplate, what if it's not this? What if it really is not this, for the first time, and actually let myself go beyond the resistance? I couldn't unsee what I saw, and I've been living into it every single day, and it's felt like the easiest thing I've ever done, because the timing was there. And so if you're in a moment of flux, I felt like I was in flux a lot in 2025, but I just trusted. And so I want you to trust too. If you're in a place of feeling unsettled, unsteady, as if the rug's been pulled out from under your feet, as if you're just not enjoying the things that you were enjoying once before, do some deep reflection over the coming week or so and give yourself the space to do that. Because when we give ourselves the space and the time to do those, to do that deep reflection, and we overcome our own resistance to change, so many amazing things will be waiting for you on the other side. And that saying just popped into my head, that the only thing to fear is fear itself. So many of us think we have control. And if you're a child of trauma, then, we put a lot of stock in control, right? We put a lot of exactly that, stock in control. We want to feel like we're in control, because then, our nervous system can relax. And we all know it's an illusion, right? I always love how people that are in corporate think they're so safe, things are so safe. And then, people lose their jobs, and it's like, and then what? I don't think anything is safe. I don't think anything is, I don't know. I just feel like we have to get comfortable with change, and we have to get comfortable with the realization that we are responsible for our outcomes and our lives, and it's up to us. There's nobody coming to save us. There's nobody that's going to present, whatever it is that you're looking for and handing it to you on a platter. We've got to go through the work. I just mentioned then, nervous system being, freaked out when things are out of control. I knew for me there was going to be a lot of work that needed to be done around that. And I've done it. I've increased my capacity for so much, for being able to, I've always been able to withstand a lot of stress and all those things. Like, I've always been able to handle a lot of things. One of the things that I haven't been good at is being able to receive support, being able to just let things be easy. I've always felt like I've needed to earn things and work harder and all those things with any goal. That's just been the way that my system is, right? And doing the work around nervous system regulation has increased my capacity for all the things that are going to take me where I want to go in 2026. That is receiving support. That is all of the things. And so this journey, this entrepreneurial journey, is always so complex. And it's important that you don't look at me or anybody else and see the highlight reel, although I do think I do a very good job of sharing like the entire journey. But know that it is a process, and sometimes things just take a lot longer, and sometimes we prolong the things because we're not doing the actual work that we need to do. And for me, that was the nervous system regulation thing. I just, told myself that, you're good at handling stress, you're good. But, realizing that I didn't have to. There was something else I was thinking the other day. What was it? Oh my God, I can't remember. But I was reflecting on it for a little minute, and then I kind of had this idea that it's like, oh my God. So it was something along the lines of, oh my God, I'm going to be really cryptic and it's not intentional. I just can't remember. But I remember thinking, what about, if it was this or this, and trying to make a decision about something or feel a certain way about something. And I realized, what if it wasn't like, what if I didn't even need that or something like that? I wish I could remember, because it was just such an indicator of the way that I've been thinking. It's like, is it this or this? No, it's actually neither of these things. It's this whole other thing over here that's so much bigger, and making me realize that, oh my God, why am I playing in this question when I should really be playing in this question? And this awareness is here now, and it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. And so just getting back to that whole idea of you not comparing your journey to anybody else. I have had so much frustration over the last year that, things are not happening fast enough, that it should be here by now, all those typical things that we have. And I've let go all of that, because it is what it is. And I keep reminding myself to trust the timing of my life. I must trust the timing of my life. And when I trust the timing, I don't get all bent out of shape if, something hasn't happened by a self-imposed deadline. And I just let it go, because I was asking myself the question, do you believe and trust or not? And the answer was always yes. And then it's like, well, does the time really matter? No, it doesn't. And that's just helped me to stop pushing and pushing and pushing and forcing things, because I know in my knower, and I don't need to push. I don't need to stress. I don't need to worry. I don't need to make shit happen. I don't need to hustle. I don't need to do any of those things. I've done what I've needed to do, and the rest is up to my team. And my job had been being okay with that. And that was not the work that I thought that I would be doing. That's not the work that I expected was going to be the game changer, but it was. This entrepreneurial journey, as I started out to say, is not easy, right? And some people are looking for the next strategy, and that might be very appropriate, because for some people it's like, yep, I feel really aligned. I've got the offer. I've got the this. I've got that. Everything feels aligned. And now it's just going to be a matter of time and figuring out how to get eyes or ears on you, right? And you're just looking for the right strategy. So the podcast millionaire might be the perfect fit for you, for example, or it might be something else, right? And it's like, everything else is right. Now I just need an audience. And that strategy is going to be the thing that propels you forward, right? And for some of you, it's going to be sitting down with yourself and asking yourself, what is the work that I need to be doing right now? And it might not be a strategy. It might be a rebuilding of who you consider yourself to be, so that you elevate your thinking, so that you can step into a new version of yourself, one that is going to see bigger opportunities than you see for yourself right now. And some of you are going to be in this place where it's like, well, nothing's been working and my business isn't making the money that I want it to make, and I feel like nothing I do is working. That is always a sign that you need to go deep and have a look inside and ask yourself, is this something that you truly want? It's really interesting. I had somebody on the Inner Circle call the other day on our last call, and she had been running ads to a certain thing. And then she said the magic words. She's like, it was, the ads were working well, but this wasn't converting. And she said, and you know what? I felt relieved, because I didn't really want to do it. It's like, and there we have it. I have hired people in the past who have tried to create something for me. I didn't trust them, but I also look back and had that same feeling of relief. And they would say to me, on paper, this should be working, this should be breaking records, like it's all there. But my resistance was so high that it kind of overrode what should, inverted commas, be working. And we have free will, right? We get to exercise our free will. And sometimes it's conscious and sometimes it's subconscious. And we've got to figure out what's what. And we've got to get real with ourselves. And maybe my best piece of advice for you, if you're in that space, is to take a leaf out of my book and ask yourself, what would doing 2026 differently look like? And then you're going to come back to themes, right? For me, it was always the same kind of 2 or 3 things, and realizing that my approach had been pretty similar. And what a shock. I was achieving similar results. And so it was when I decided to do things differently that things really started to change. And I had to be patient and wait for, my nervous system to catch up, for the systems to be built, for all of those things to happen. But I knew from the moment I chose it, I knew where I was going. I wasn't worried about time. I wasn't worried about will it work, won't it work. Wasn't worried about any of those things because I just knew, and I knew what to do, and I knew when to do it, and I trusted my instincts every step of the way, and here we are. So maybe what you are working so hard for is not for you. There have been women inside my inner circle this year who have let businesses go that they have been working on for, 4 years and put a lot of time and energy into, but had the realization that this is not what I'm meant to be doing. That stuff is really hard. That is really challenging when you had so much hope for, a way of doing business or a product that you had. And then you realize that, oh my God, it's not fucking it. That's really tough to face, right? But it's taken a few months. But one particular client, she's now out of the void and she's on the other side of it, and she sees what she wants to build now. And so she is building that thing. And that's brave because, it's brave. And it's exactly what I did this year as well. Being able to say, you know what, I think I'm done. I think I'm actually done with the coaching industry. I think I'm going to be coaching industry adjacent, but I'm not going to be in that world anymore. And I'm not going to be in that world of creating social media content and launching offers and all of those things. I'm just not going to be in that space anymore. And that was what I've known how to do for so long. So what I'm doing now is new to me. The inner circle mentoring part, that's as easy as brushing my teeth. But all the other bits and pieces, trusting other people, relying on other people for deliverables, that was all so foreign. And now it feels like the best thing I've ever done. So this is a good time of the year to reflect. And I want to leave you with a final question. And that is, what do you want 2026 to be about? And who do you want to be in the process of bringing that to life? So as my ads were launching and I was seeing my card being charged like a greater frequency than when I'm running my own ads and all the rest of it, there's a part of me that wanted to have a little bit of a panic and go in and micromanage and look at the ads and all that. And then I asked myself that question, who do you want to be during this phase? Who do you want to be? It's like, well, I could be the person that I was and, get myself back into this micromanaging, sticking my nose into my ads person's business when I had no business being there. Or I could be the founder and CEO that I came here to be and not react. Like, it's cool. It's happening. Do I trust this person or not? Yes, I do. Do I trust the strategy? Yes, I do. Do I trust the product? Yes, I do. We'll go and do something else. And so, I'm still having these little conversations with myself, but less and less and less. And every time they come up, it's just an opportunity for me to kiss goodbye another part of my old identity that no longer serves me. So I wish you all the very best for the remainder of 2025. I am in your corner for 2026. I want you to have a luxe and leveraged life. I want you to be making all of the money and living the life of your dreams, but without having to work yourself into the ground. That is the whole point. I want you to build something that feels bigger than you. I want you to feel as excited as I do when I wake up on a Monday morning and can't wait to dive into my WhatsApp, because I just know that what's in there is going to be something that is exciting and moving me forward. So I'm going to leave you now for a few weeks. I will be back on the 5th of January 2026. Enjoy the break. Go back and listen to some of your favorites and come on over to Instagram and let me know. Let me know how much you've enjoyed the podcast, what your ahas were, and let me know your favorite episode. All right, that is it. I will see you next year, my loves.